Mukesh, let me ask you the larger question, within which what context are you observing this visit? There have been visits of Prime Minister Modi. There have been many other bilateral meetings, conversations. Why is this significant other than the gala ceremonies around it?
Well, there is a lot on the agenda, primarily because it happens to be a year before the elections for both the countries.
Correct.
On the agenda, several issues. One is the trade, and I would say a trade tension. US feels India has a protectionist attitude, and it's always saying that it will take countermeasures, including revoking India's GSP trade preferences and special US tariffs on steel and aluminum. So there are some issues which are seeking resolution, and I think a dialogue between US and India, a commercial dialogue, will help resolve those issues. But it's a cold simmering tension without any specific flashpoint, I must add. The bilateral trade in goods is all favoring India, primarily because of the export of services. The US is possibly the only major trade partner with which India has a trade surplus, and hence it is evident. On the strategic and commercial side, there are areas of cooperation on commercial space, advanced communications, 5G, 6G, undersea cables, critical mineral supplies, artificial intelligence. There is a lot on the agenda on climate cooperation, with climate being a theme in both the countries. US in particular is expecting that India will strengthen its carbon reduction targets, and India wants a US investor.
Yeah.
And then there is a whole bunch of issues on the defense and security side, primarily to improve the cooperation, while India's non-alignment policy is something that US looks at it, but strategic partnership is important. Defense sales is very critical for US, wherein last year US has crossed $20 billion, and there would be several contracts in the area of armed drones.
Yeah.
US is also assisting India in its defense sector to become self-reliant by way of domestic manufacturing.
Okay. So let me just jump in on that, Mr. Butani. Does it matter the big ticket deals? Because of course there are thousands of threads that whatever multi-billion dollar association, $100 billion association make. Why do the big ticket deals matter?
Well, it does matter because it's not just about defense strategic partnership. It's all about foreign investments as well in India. India will continue to be a net importer of technology and foreign capital for at least 3 to 5 decades. If you look at the 3-decade economic reforms of India, US is indeed the largest investor, and India expects that it will continue to do so. It is important for India because greenfield projects would mean more employment for India, more manufacturing capability, more reliance or lesser reliance on imports, making it more competitive from an export standpoint, so on and so forth, including development of infrastructure.
Okay.
So
All
I
right.
think it is
So what are
critical.
okay? So what are areas of opportunity that you see right now, which are the easy ones, the easy ones to pick off the tree?
Well, let's put down what is India expecting, what is Prime Minister Modi expecting from this visit. Clearly, an acceleration on transfer of advanced defense technology for defense manufacturing, US to relax controls on exports of defense technologies, cooperative programs in critical technologies and clean tech in particular. The US articulation on supporting India's growing security concerns with China and the Indian Ocean is important, which means that military capabilities, political support as aligned, as India would like to align its interests with the neighboring countries such as Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Maldives, and others. There are more that India is expecting from a Indian higher education cooperation. We saw many changes from a regulatory standpoint in India, including higher education in gift cities. In particular, for more US universities to establish presence in India in partnership Indian institution.
Yes.
So there is a lot on the agenda on this visit.
Okay. So since you mentioned it, let me ask you about Gift City. So we had been told pretty much sold out. I mean, you can't find an office in Gift City anymore for registration. It's been a long time coming, but is there a success story being built here in terms of the logic that it was trying to address?
Well, it started off as India's answer to offshore banking units,
Yes.
but we saw that during COVID times, India did expand the scope of the gift city to cover international arbitration, higher education, cross border leasing of aircrafts and air engines. So the feedback that you have received is consistent with the feedback I have received. The gift officials continue to believe that there is more scope for establishing presence in India, and I would imagine that that feedback has been taken, and the gift city expansion would be something that one could expect in the future to meet the growing demands of investors.
Okay. Is there now this momentum which is being built? I've been asking this all day. So we are the fifth largest economy. Germany is in recession. This time next year will probably be the fourth largest. We're already the largest in terms of population size as of this year. Is there a momentum which is putting India into a different orbit?
No doubt about it. I think the bounce back from COVID years has been phenomenal. I think, contrary to expectations, we delivered a 7.2% growth rate in financial year 22-23. We may not repeat the same performance in the current fiscal year, but it is projected that it would be up of 6.4%. So with the economy growing at that rate, which is driving the growth in per capita income, you clearly see that in the next 5 to 6 years, India would emerge clearly, given the current growth levels in Germany and in Japan, as the third largest economy of the world.
Why do headliners like this matter? As we speak today, sir, the Indian stock market is once again at a record high. Why do headlines like this matter? Do they change attitudes and approaches which lead to real business decisions?
Well, I don't think the headline really matters. What matters is really what's happening at the ground level by way of economic reforms. We shouldn't forget the fact that it's one thing to say that we would be the third largest economy of the world in 5 to 7 years, but our per capita income would still be higher. So that's not good news. But the good news is that in order for India to move to the middle income level country, which is a per capita of 9 to 12,000 US dollars, that's really the delta. That's really the push for economic growth which is coming from. So if the nation continues to grow and aspires to be a mid-level economy, and we need to give 8 to 10,000 or $12,000 of per capita income to 1.4 billion or whatever the figure is on a go-forward basis, then you're talking about phenomenal growth levels.
Yeah.
That's really the headline in my view.
Good point. Okay. Pleasure conversing with you once again, Mukesh Butani. Thank you very much for joining us on this broadcast.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.